If you want to know how to optimize your Lightning Blast Runemaster, this is the video for you. Have you ever killed the boss so hard that the Harbinger spawns with less than 100% HP? What's up, Sporkus here, and in this video I will be showing you all the changes that I made to increase my DPS, tankiness, absolutely shred bosses at high level. This build basically does all content, is hardcore viable, and crushes Uber Aberoth. Alright, let's get into some of the changes that I made on the build. Started with some of the common guides you'll see out there, and then the main changes. So this build becomes much tankier and does more DPS than any of the guides that I've been able to find online. So the main thing on Flame Ward is I dropped some points and maxed out Frost Guard instead. The main things you want in this are the less hit damage, the cast Flame Ward when stunned. That is absolutely super nice. When you just get a random hit that might have killed you, it saves your ass. And then obviously the +1 charges. The extra 2 points in Frostguard to max it out made a difference of about 1,000 armor. Actually about 1,200, because I was sitting around 4,400 before with 3 points. So 5,600 armor with Flame Ward up is extremely good and super useful in the harder boss fights like Uberoth. Flame Rush, the one significant change I did here was I opted for Epilogue, which casts your runic invocation. So every time you use Flame Rush, you get the ward boost from your Cold Fire Cold rune combo, which is super nice. And then on Runic Invocation, I went for the blink option. Now you don't have to do this. It does add a cooldowns to it. But since I'm mostly getting my buff, my Runic Invocation buff from using Flame Rush, which has a relatively short cooldown, I just think the blink is super useful for mapping, also bossing. It's just a really good quality of life add that lets me blink across a wall or a place that I wouldn't be able to walk, and it's super nice. Again, optional if you want to be able to spam Runic Invocation directly. You don't have to go for that, but I really like it. The other part that made a significant difference in my DPS is I took a point from Arcing Power and put it into Halo Effect. In fact, the third additional chain does nothing for you really, because this halves the maximum chain. So having 3 versus 2 doesn't actually do anything. You would need to have 4 for that to actually count as an additional chain. So this switching 1 point here over to Halo Effect boosted my DPS substantially. Let's get into some of the other changes that I did. So you'll notice on my gear, I don't have any increased spell crit at all. I tried running it that way and it was good, but this is way better. So I'm prioritizing crit strike multiplier and cast speed instead. So all of my slams are going to be either crit strike multiplier wherever I can get it, and cast speed and intelligence. Obviously intelligence #1 stat, stack as much as possible, and then crit strike multiplier, cast speed are your others. Honestly, most of this stuff is not that hard to get. I still could use a much better helm and crafted ring, but all of this stuff is really not that hard to get. I mean, the 2 LP gloves and relic take a few tries on egging and stuff to get a good one, but honestly really not that difficult. I still am rocking a 1 LP armor. I do have a couple 2 LPs that are worthy of slamming, but the problem is with this is you need it to have decent elemental on it and also enough mana to get you above the 300, which is the main thing. And most of the time the rolls are crap. So I'm debating between going the increased spell crit and 24 intelligence, but I'm kind of leaning towards doing the 75 lightning crit strike multiplier and intelligence instead. I've just seen a much bigger increase in my overall DPS from crit strike multiplier. That would put me a little above 600 crit strike multiplier total. The other piece, the one piece that might be a little bit difficult but makes a substantial difference, is a Spark Champions belt. Now, I was skeptical about dropping 20 int to switch to this to fix, but that chance for Lightning Blast to chain additional times is extremely good. Thanks to this point here, it also works on single targets. So for bosses and stuff like that, every hit is hitting them multiple times, and it's sweet. I noticed a big increase in my DPS against Uber when I switched to this. Even a T6 version is almost just as good. So try to get one of those Spark Champions. They only drop from Spark Champions, obviously, so it might take a while to find a good one. But even if the other stats are on the belt are not good, as you can see, none of this stuff is crazy. Like, I think the physical res is the only thing that I actually got to pick on there. Tried to get a better T7 prefix, but I just ran out of forging potential. It still blows this other one away, surprisingly. And that's it. That was a huge increase in my DPS switching to that belt, and it also helps with mapping, but I was surprised how much it made a difference on single target bosses. Huge boost right there. That pretty much sums it up. This is probably the best one that I've got that's 2 LP that would open up some options for me. When you want to break out the math, they're welcome to do so. I have charted it. In the next video, I think I'll break down the differences between going spell crit and crit strike multiplier for a 2 LP chest, and just see if I can make a decision on what's best to go there. Look forward to seeing you on that video. Thanks for watching. Peace.